Are you feeling overwhelmed by the holiday hustle? And are you wondering if you can recapture that Christmas magic while you juggle all of your family responsibilities? If you are, today we're going to explore ways you can rediscover that wonder, cultivate that joy, and find that peace this Christmas season. So, whether you're at that seasoned parent or maybe you're new to the game, you're going to find tips to make this holiday truly memorable for your kids and for yourself. Welcome back, my friends, to episode number 176, Rekindling the Wonder, Joy, and Peace of Christmas for Your Family. Now, if you're anything like me, the holidays are a mixed bag. There can be a lot to navigate. And yes, at the core, you really just want this to be a memorable holiday and very beautiful. And yet, Christmas Eve is just around the corner, and you feel like you have so many different things to get done. And the holidays don't actually feel very restful and magical like you would want. So maybe this is the year that we change it. Let's take away the maybe there. This is the year that you change it, my friends. And let's talk about simple ways that we might be able to do that. I just want to talk very quickly about some of the things that we do in our house to have more joy and wonder and excitement about the holidays. Most of those come in the form of family traditions. I may have shared some of these last year, but they've just slowly evolved over the years. And one of them is we take our kids actually to IHOP, which we never go to, but we do go on Black Friday. And we go to IHOP for breakfast, and then the kids have saved up money and we put names in a hat and we get a gift for each other on Black Friday. So that is one simple thing. Another thing is if I make time for it, I make ridiculous homemade Christmas sweaters. Another thing we do, not all the time, but sometimes we do the secret elf tradition where each child will take a turn and do secret little acts of service or put little candies in their shoe or do something like that. And they have fun with that. We've also had different exchange students come in and share different holiday traditions that they have from their country, like St. Nicholas from Germany. And that's like a whole holiday in itself. And there's treats and everything they put out on. It's a certain day. It's not Christmas. I can't even remember. I should have looked it up. But that's really fun. My kids really enjoyed doing that. They even make these little, they're not gingerbread men. They're like these doughy, sweet rolls that look like little gingerbread men. And they're so much more amazing than gingerbread men. So I love doing that one. And then we do other things. Like we have a Christmas Eve box where we just maybe have like a game in there or a treat or Christmas pajamas. And sometimes we even make it even simpler. Like this last year, we got away from books and movies and games and all of that. But instead, we did this one where we each made a gift for each other. And on Christmas Eve night, we shared that. So it was more meaningful instead of the chaos of just unwrapping gifts. And that was probably the most memorable part for me that I just loved. So I'll share a little bit more about that in a minute. But how can you make this Christmas more memorable in ways that are not overwhelming? So just simplifying things. We'll talk about that and a few other things, but it is very challenging as a parent when you're trying to maintain those relationships and improve relationships even during the holidays to do that when there's so much stress around. So the question we're all wondering is how can we reconnect to the real reason behind Christmas, whether you're Christian or not, but Christ's birth and the wonder and the joy and the peace that comes from that story, that event, and how can we replicate that in our families and focus on that true spirit of Christmas? Maybe we can start with talking about what the wonder of Christmas is and how we can do that. Think back on the childlike wonder that you had when you were a kid. What did you do to develop that? When we think about the wonder of Christmas, I think a lot of us often go back to those moments in our childhood that felt very magical. Like for me, I remember my brothers making us a kitchen set with like chairs and the table. And that stood out to me more than any gifts that I received. that was a gift, but it was just a more meaningful gift because at the time I was like, they think I'm annoying. They don't really like me. Like it just changed the atmosphere in our home. So that created that wonder and that magic. So how can we create a magical moment for our children without overwhelming ourselves? Something simple might be setting up a nativity scene and telling the story of Christ's birth as a family. Like it doesn't even have to be long. It can be very simple or it can be acting it out. W.C. Jones said this: the joy of brightening others' lives, bearing each other's burdens, easing others' loads, and supplanting empty hearts and lives with generous gifts becomes for us the magic of the holidays. And I love all that, but I just want to say that part about generous gifts, I don't even think it has to be that. Just any sort of acknowledgement or care or love or just even that presence that you can give to others is what will make that wonder come alive. So how are you brightening the lives of others? Again, without shame here, how are you bearing each other's burdens and easing each other's loads during this Christmas season? Now, I know just saying that out loud, even me right now, like I almost feel more of that tension in my shoulders. It does not have to be big, my friends. As a matter of fact, that is probably the opposite of what would be effective in our family. How can you just very simply lighten another's load? That could be a text, that could be a hug, that could be a little note on somebody's doorstep just saying how much they mean to you. These are things that could take 5 minutes, but change the atmosphere of Christmas for you this year and for your kids. Maybe even just setting a timer for maybe it's one night a week leading up to Christmas. And it might be too late now because we're getting closer, but maybe just a few of those notes, like how are we going to lift someone else today? And that could be a really fun and very simple way to bring that wonder back to Christmas. Now let's talk about simplicity, because truly as parents, that's what we want right now, right? So joy comes from those meaningful experiences and not that material excess. If you're a more seasoned parent, you recognize that you have way too much stuff in your house and the kids don't really need more. So maybe you can simplify the holiday traditions to reduce that stress. What could that look like? Maybe that's just as simple as instead of having a big elaborate friend party or family party, you could instead just have a hot cocoa night with your family members and just talk about favorite memories from Christmas as you're playing and just keeping it joyful and peaceful and simple. How about cultivating that inner peace? How can you do that during the holidays? This comes with personal reflection and that spiritual connection. I know for us, we often watch the Christmas devotional in our church, and whatever faith you are, what different things can you bring forward that will help you have that greater peace and cultivate that personal reflection or that spiritual connection? This could be journaling. This could be those meaningful family talks and focusing on what really matters most. So this could be as simple as taking a few minutes each morning for that prayer or that meditation or that journal reflection. Henry B. Eyring says, the celebration of Christmas helps us keep our promise to always remember him and his gifts to us. So we're remembering what he gave us. And that remembrance creates a desire in us to give gifts to him. So just like I said, it does not have to be big. That 5-minute thing, one night a week as a family, how can we lighten somebody's burden today? How can we elevate somebody just for 5 minutes right after dinner? Just something very simple like that. That is giving gifts to others, and in doing so, giving gifts to Christ and honoring the sacrifice that he made. The next part I want to talk about is strengthening family bonds. Use this Christmas season to deepen those connections with your spouse and your kids, because it really is magical when you take these small, simple things to connect. These don't have to require a lot of planning or a lot of resources. This could simply be reading the Christmas story or any Christmas stories together and volunteering as a family. Like maybe in the past, we've done volunteering at a soup kitchen or a nursing home. And to be honest, we haven't even done that recently. So maybe that's something we could lean in and do a little bit more of. Or again, a simple way. Maybe it doesn't have to be an entire evening. For example, we had somebody so sweet in our congregation, in our ward. He just dropped off a package of Oreos at the beginning of the season. And he said, I was just thinking about you, just love you guys. And I was at the store and I saw this package of Oreos. It's like a Christmas package. And I love Christmas. And I just wanted to share my joy of these cookies and Christmas with you on this for the very beginning of the Christmas season. And I thought that was so sweet and so kind just to let us know that he cared. So it can be as simple as that. It does not have to be this fancy homemade thing where you're putting yourself out so much, but it could be very simple. Well, how can we embrace the spirit of service without overwhelming ourselves? Because service really does bring a greater fulfillment and this increased perspective that can't really be attained in other ways. What are some simple ways that we can involve our kids in these acts of kindness? What can we do? This can be baking cookies for your neighbors or writing a card to family members that don't get a lot of your attention and interaction throughout the school year with all the craziness in your life and your kids' lives. Maybe something a little more personal. Again, small doses. This is not meant to overwhelm, just to stimulate those tiny little ideas. And like I said, I know Christmas Eve is just around the corner. So this could be a 5-minute thing that you do together to change the Christmas season even more. Bonnie L. Oscarson said, "As we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ this season, let us also celebrate all that his birth symbolizes, especially the love." Are we showing that love, not even to strangers, but especially to our children, to our spouse? Are you showing that tenderness? Are you showing that peace and that wonder by giving them your attention and your presence, looking them in the eye, throwing that phone somewhere where you can't find it for a while? Just give them the gift of your attention. And last but not least, I want to talk about renewing your personal faith. How are you reconnecting with the spiritual aspects of Christmas this Christmas season? How are you strengthening your personal faith? Are there ways that you can incorporate that Christ-centered practice into your daily life that go beyond this holiday season, or even just right now? Like maybe sharing your belief in the Savior and your gratitude for all that he's done, or sharing the wonder and the joy and the peace that you feel as you think about Christ's birth, whatever that looks like. It could even be something as simple as starting a gratitude journal or having regular family scripture study, and just this new habit that you can take into this coming new year. So in conclusion, my friends, I just want you to think about those simple things that you can do to increase that wonder and that joy and that peace this Christmas season by focusing on the true meaning of Christmas. Just choose 1 or 2 ideas to implement before Christmas comes, or maybe even after. And remember, my friends, that this is not another big to-do to add to your list to overwhelm you. This is something that you can do to grow your fulfillment and make it more magical and memorable in important ways. I'm asking you, like always, to lean in, to appeal to your higher self, and put away the hustle and bustle and craziness of this season that you will regret in a few days anyway, and change the trajectory. It's not too late. There is hope. You can do this. You've got this, my friend. And don't forget, just around the corner, in just a few short days, check out fulfillmenttherapy.org because our courses are being released. We will have Ignite Your Life, a personal growth course, and Find Your Focus for those that want to start a podcast and online business and have that passive income and become their higher selves. So if you want to check those out, we have those 2 courses available, as well as Mend Your Marriage. So if you want to take your marriage to the next level and your personal growth to the next level, or you want to start a business, we have those 3 courses available on January 1st. Don't miss out on the limited discounts that are coming your way. So check it out January 1st. Go to the website and you will see those massive savings. You will see all of the perks that come from signing up right away. So check it out now, or check us out in the show notes on any of our links, and we will show you all of those incredible things that are coming. Just click those links if you want to know what this is all about. All right, we'll see you back here in a few days. Take care and Merry Christmas.